I know it seems like it was a short summer, but kids are going back to school. And for going back to school, they have to know the basics. And joining us from Nicewater Children's Hospital is Tiffany Alford. Tiffany, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about what kids should know for that first day of school?
It's really important that going into school that kids know the important emergency information. So their name, their parents' names, addresses, phone numbers, anything that can help them get home safely if there were to be something happen and they were to not end up at the right place.
Now, is there an age where it's too young to know that information, or is it the younger the better as soon as they can retain it?
I think the younger the better. What we do see is that a lot of times in kindergarten it does become kind of a competency thing that they do expect them to know, but if they know it before they get to school, even better.
And why is it so important? You kind of touched on it, but it's such basic information that really could help these kids in an emergency.
As bad as we hate to think about it, kids do get on the wrong bus or something of that nature. So if a kid gets on the wrong bus and they don't know their address and phone number, how are we going to get them back to their parents? Because how are you going to get in contact with their parents? So as much as we would like to think kids get on the right bus every time, they take the correct route walking home, it doesn't always happen. So it's important for them to know that information. That's also why we encourage things like backpack emergency cards that include contact information for the kiddos. So who their parent is, how to get a hold of them, and just ways to help them get back to where they need to be.
Now, I've never heard of a backpack emergency card. I mean, what would you recommend, doing that on like an index card and putting it in their bag, or what's the best way to go about that?
So we actually have some through Nicewater Marketing that you can just print out and you can put it in a little pouch or something that you can pick up at the store, and it has kind of the template of what information you need to put on there. And a lot of the backpacks nowadays actually have a little slot that you can slide it down into.
And it kind of reminds me of some people have, or kids will have, a warning bracelet when it comes to allergies. Now, how should they address allergies when they're going into maybe a new school? Maybe they're starting a new middle school, or they're going to a new classroom with a new teacher who doesn't know. How can that stuff be addressed?
I think it's very important that the kid knows their allergies and how to identify those items. So you hope that the teacher would know, or that the school nurse, but it's important that the kid themselves know. That way, if a friend offers them a snack or something like that, they know how to identify if that allergy item is in there.
And if they do have an allergy, bringing an EpiPen to school and knowing how to use it, is that something young children should know?
They should know. Most schools will have school nurses or some sort of school staff that is trained in that, but it is important that kids know how to do that. But a lot of times in an allergy situation, they probably won't be able to give the force to do it themselves.
So we talked about buses and bus safety. Walking in front of buses and behind them can also be a big concern, right?
Yeah, so we always want to make sure kiddos are being safe around buses. So you want to stay 5 feet away from the curb. You want to always be watching for cars, and it's really important that they make sure that the bus comes to a complete stop before they try to get on or off, and they want to face forward as soon as they get on the bus, because if the bus were to come to a sudden stop, they're face backwards, standing up, talking to their friends. That could definitely be an issue.
And you hear it time and time again. You look left, right, and then left again. I mean, what other tips do you have for just safety leaving school, especially those kids who walk?
It's very important to practice pedestrian safety. So like you said, always look left, right, left to check for cars. And you also want to make sure that you're always crossing at a crosswalk. If a crosswalk isn't available, and if it were to be dark, make sure you find a well-lit area without a lot of traffic. But just follow basic traffic rules. Try to always walk on a sidewalk. If you do have to walk on a street, walk on the side facing traffic.
And what other tips do you have for parents and students going back to school?
I think it's important to keep in mind, even though summer's ending and we're not going to see as many of those summer-related sports and injuries, it's important to keep those general safety tips in mind. So wearing a seatbelt, using car seats correctly, bike safety, all of those things that we talk about throughout the year, that doesn't end because school starts. So we want to keep those other safety tips in mind as we go into the school year.
All right, Tiffany Alford, thank you so much. And as kids go back to school, remember these basic tips and tricks.